Welcome to Myanmar Musings, a podcast of the Myanmar Research Centre at the Australian National University, Canberra. I'm Luke Corbin. It's November 21, 2017, and today we're speaking with Cecile Medail, PhD candidate at the University of New South Wales, Australia.
Yeah, hi Luke. This is very nice to talk to you.
Cecile's thesis is on the institutional arrangements that would best promote aspirations of different cultural and ethnic groups in Myanmar. And today we're going to focus on one of these recent case studies, which involves a bridge. Now, this bridge fiasco has been termed Bridgegate. Cecile, could you give us a little overview of, I think, maybe why this bridge is important from a practical point of view, and what has happened in the 6 months since its construction and naming?
This bridge is located in Mon State. This bridge basically is very important because it links one of Mon State's 10 townships which is situated on an island called Bilujun. So this township is just like half kilometer away from the shores of the mainland where Mawlamyine city is located. So this island is maybe the size of Singapore, although it has only 200,000 inhabitants. But if we compare this island to Mawlamyine, it's much less developed because it has been isolated for so long. Like, people from the island have to board like very rare ferries in order to cross the Salween River, which separates Mawlamyine and the island. Or they have the option to board long-tail boats, but it can be very dangerous because they are often overloaded with motorbikes and people, and so because of that, development has been very slow to reach the island, and so this bridge was very important for local development, and people were waiting for this construction for a long time. So the construction started in 2015, and it was in February 2015 under the name Mawlamyine and Chaungzon Bridge, because the Salween is actually the Myanmar name for Salween River, which separates Mawlamyine and this Bilujun, which literally means ogre island. This Bilujun island is actually an entire township, like I said, and the name of the township is Chaungzon Township. So the name of the bridge when it was started in February 2015 was Salween Chaungzon Bridge. So that bridge was completed in April 2017. The Ministry of Construction revealed that the name of the bridge would be changed after General Aung San. So this was announced through a letter sent to the Mon State Parliament members. Aung San, who is the Deputy Speaker of the Mon Parliament and elected member of the All Mon Region Democratic Party, expressed his disagreement with the change of the name on his Facebook page. And that's how popular reaction to this change of name started.
I see. So an official post by the person who received the letter and Facebook. Was Facebook key, do you think, to this unfolding of popular opinion?
So I think Facebook played a key role in terms of like spreading the information on what was happening with, I guess people who are in CSO, CSO network, and like regular people who have Facebook, and there was a lot of reaction on that. And actually, there was a naming ceremony that was initially planned for the 13th of February, but it was postponed because of local opposition to the new name. So there was a lot of discussions about changing the name within the Mon State government first. Actually, this decision was also supported by the NLG representatives at the Mon State Parliament. basically the Mon State government announced publicly the name would be changed to not be Aung San. So actually, the daughter of the ethnic affairs minister, national ethnic affairs minister, Nai Tet Luin, who is Mon, she made a proposal at the national parliament saying that they should approve the name Aung San at the Union Parliament. And this proposal actually triggered an informal protest on the island. 3,000 people gathered and called for a name celebrating Mon identity. And maybe a week or two later, a state-level protest coming of 96 members from surrounding townships was formed in order to support sustained protests. And since like a week later, the parliament voted with a vast majority to approve the naming of the bridge after Aung San, there was huge protests that were organized by this 96-member committee. And so in Mawlamyine on the 19th of March, which is maybe 10 days, 2 weeks after the decision of the National Parliament to actually call the bridge after Aung San. So on that day, over 20,000 people protested in Mawlamyine against the decision. And among these people, many people from different ethnic backgrounds were here. Bama, Mon, Pao, Karen, all these groups who also live in Mon State, they were all gathered. And local people say that actually there were 40,000 protesters, but official numbers say 20,000.
So this must have, that scale of dissatisfaction must have taken the government by surprise. What do you think their intentions were in the way that they unfolded this information that it was going to be named the Aung San Bridge? And were there any attempts at consultation or, amelioration after the fact by the government, local or otherwise?
I don't know of any attempts of negotiation because the signs naming the bridge after Aung San were put up maybe, again, less than 10 days after the protests, let's say 2 weeks after the protests. It was done at dawn, without any official naming ceremony, secretly. So it was kind of showing how the NLD wasn't ready to negotiate that and imposing the name by putting it up on the bridge without anyone knowing.
So what's the problem here? I mean, for listeners who might not be entirely sure, isn't Aung San a national hero? Why would there be so much distaste in Mon State to use his name for the bridge?
So General Aung San is actually a national hero. He's the father of independence. So he's the one who could win the independence from the British. So for all people of Burma, he represents that. But the thing is, Aung San is Bama, which means he is from the Bama majority group. If we look in terms of ethnic differentiation, and for Mon people, they feel because they've been they had to face a lot of what they call Permanisation. So during many years, especially during the war, and it still happened after the ceasefire was signed in 1995, people had trouble speaking, learning their own language and holding cultural events, celebrating their culture, their traditions, all of that because of the campaign, what they call Permanisation campaign of the Myanmar army, which is mostly dominated by the Bama group. So they feel that if the country is changing to democracy, although the NLD is an elected government, it's still mostly dominated by the Bama majority group. So they really feel that if there is a step to be made towards reconciliation, local identity should be recognized. So it shouldn't be the name. They accept General Aung San. They have nothing against General Aung San, but they feel that there should be the name of a local hero or a local place.
Yeah. Okay. So I see that you spend a bit of time in Mon State, right, talking to people involved in these protests, and I guess that's where you've gotten that information. What about people who didn't join the protests? Was there a counter, quieter kind of acquiescent movement in Mon State? People who wanted to just get on with it?
Yeah, like in the villages where I've been, some people went to the protest, but maybe most people I met didn't even go to the protest. Some people didn't even know about the protest. Some people did know about the protest, but they actually didn't feel that it was a big thing, your name, as long as the bridge is working, like there's a bridge, we should already be happy about that. Some people think this way. Other people thought that actually, even if we don't like the name of the bridge, we can't do anything. So we should just get along with it. Most of the people I talked to in the villages were not necessarily involved directly in the protests, but it was always like something, the bridge name is something that was always coming up, even though they were not directly involved for one reason or for another. Like one group I talked to even said like they didn't know about the protest, but even if they knew about the protest, they wouldn't have gone because they are too afraid of the consequences that this can have. Like I think there is a big trauma in terms of demonstrations and how these demonstrations have been sometimes quashed in blood. So like a group of women said like, even if we knew about the protest, we wouldn't have gone. We're too afraid that the government will bomb us. So,
well, on that note, I mean, what have any repercussions, or what have the consequences been?
So actually, this is one of the biggest protests in the country since the transition to democracy began. But it was actually very peaceful, and there wasn't any problems that people reported.
And so, how about amongst Mun people or Mun people who are politically active? Did this protest have a galvanizing kind of effect for the future? How are people talking now that although they didn't achieve their goals, they came together and they made their voice heard?
Yeah, so basically since last time I was there in August, so the 96-member committee is still active. So even though, there's no protest going on, or this committee is still active, and they are working together, and but there is I guess, not to my knowledge, any concerted action to promote Mon identity at the moment. But it's just still active in the sense that if something happens, they're ready to meet again.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, okay. Let's bring it back to your thesis, which you're spending every day writing, I'm guessing. So let's talk about institutional problems more directly. So how does this case study, this situation, fit into the institutional problem, as you put it, for Myanmar and for these ethnic aspirations?
So for me, I'm looking more at ethnic aspirations and kind of like based on that, trying to assess what are the policies or institutions that should be adopted. And I'm basically looking at 5 types of aspirations. First type of aspiration is symbolic recognition, and then a second type is access to opportunities, and then the third type of aspiration is participation in the political life, and another type of aspirations is like cultural autonomy, and the last type of aspiration is territorial autonomy. So all these aspirations, in a way, are linked with political policy demands, or like cultural, political, or cultural arrangements. So in that sense, that's how I link aspirations to kind of like institutional or policy changes that should be made to support these demands. And in the case of the beach, this is, I guess, clearly showing one issue and one aspiration with recognition, like symbolic recognition. It means that for Mon people and for many other minorities, like the symbolic measure of recognizing local identity is very important to build trust. And secondly, the actual use of the Bama-dominated parliament to push for a decision that goes against the recognition of local people's desire is resonating with another aspiration, which is the need for more political participation and for equality in terms of being able to decide, having the power to decide for local matters locally, which involves demands for federalism, autonomy. Yeah, so that's how it's all linked together.
Are things like this happening often around the country? And this is just a very large sort of public example of it?
Like naming is a big thing, like for instance in Mon State, the name of the villages have been all changed phonetically to the Bama pronunciation, and also like in terms of script. Mon people have their own script, but now it's written in the Bama script or Myanmar script. So this is happening for villages everywhere. But like in my second fieldwork area in Shan State, this is also something that people feel like their identity is not recognized. For instance, at the entry of Taunji, there was a welcome sign, which was written in Myanmar language, Pa'o and Shan. And it has been changed, and now I think there's no more Pa'o anymore. So local Pa'o people feel like, although they are the second largest ethnic group in Shan State, their identity is not being recognized.
All right, let's speculate a little bit about this supposed policy of Burmanization. Where do you think that this comes from? Given the complicated kind of power structures at the top levels of Myanmar society, is this a cultural problem, or is this to do with direct policies from the junta days and from the Tatmadaw, or is this an institutional kind of problem within the NLD, or is it a combination of all of that?
I think here, I'm thinking of Matthew Walton's article on Burmanness and the Burman privilege, where in this article he's comparing
Burman chauvinism, right?
I wouldn't say chauvinism, but privilege in the sense that if we compare with critical race theories, when we talk about the white privilege, which means that white people, and in this case Bama people, enjoy privileges just because of their race or their ethnicity, and that most of the time they're not even aware of enjoying this privileged identity. In the case of the Bama, we can say that they have also suffered a lot from the militarization and the military regime, and this is one reason why they say that they also have suffered, but they don't recognize that ethnic minorities might have suffered even more just because they are not in this position of privilege.
So how are you taking this Bridgegate example any further, depending on what actually happens in the state? And where are you at exactly in the process of writing your PhD? When can we expect to see or read it?
So I'm actually now analyzing all the data that I've collected, coding my interviews and So yeah, I'm really in the process of sorting out all this information and organizing everything and the themes, and hopefully I'll start I already have my thesis draft chapters, in a sense, like I know already like the structure of the thesis. Now I need to develop each chapter based on the information I have. But mostly I finished analyzing the data on the Mon, and now I need to analyze the data on the Pa'o, and I want to combine, because the Mon and the Pa'o, so the Pa'o is the second ethnic group I'm looking at. They have very, very different situation, and this is why I chose these two different groups. The Mon have a state, and the Pa'o don't have a state. They are a smaller minority within Shan state, but they still have some kind of recognition as a self-administered zone. So these different situations are actually really interesting, because I will try and compare and see how these main differences in terms of representation impact how people, experience discrimination, or experience or affect their perceptions of the situation. So I'm basically about to combine my data on the Mon and on the Pa'o together. And I hope, that I will submit in August next year.
At the end of every episode, Cecile, I always ask for a recommendation from our guests. So it can be anything you like, as long as it's related to Myanmar, something that you are currently enjoying or that you feel passionate about. Can you think of anything?
Yeah, I guess, like the first thing that comes to my mind is, like as much as possible, like we should try and learn different languages of Myanmar, not just the language of the majority, but like it's so rich. Like it's already, I can't say I speak fluently Burmese. I think I'm at maybe the intermediate level, and it makes such a huge difference, like in terms of like access to information, to people, so I've been able to do some interviews in Myanmar, but in Myanmar language, and maybe I would say that I would have liked if I could have done that also in Mon language or Pa'o language. So I guess, like, if people have time or interest, I think learning languages is really important, because it opens the door to all these other cultures that we actually know less. So that would be a recommendation. Not easy, but that would be my recommendation.
That's a great recommendation. Can I extend it a little, and can I ask, how do you think is the best way for people to learn some of these less commonly taught languages in Myanmar?
I guess spend time in outside of Yangon and in the areas, and meet people and make friends, and people are always very helpful, and so it's not very difficult to start a conversation, and they're always eager to exchange, so if you speak English, they'll be happy to learn some of the English. So it's kind of like very, I guess, informal, but it's just a matter of like making that step of trying to meet people, so it's the same everywhere. So I guess if you want to learn Pa'o language, you need to first go to Taungji, and if you want, I can put you in touch with amazing people in Taungji who speak Pa'o, and same for Mon people. If you want to learn Mon, I can put you in touch. And it's just, I guess it's a matter of like having a contact that you know already and who will open doors.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the end. It's been really interesting talking and thinking about this bridge. I look forward to visiting it and getting a sort of sense of place as well to contribute to all of this thinking and talking. So,
can I say something?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say one last thing about that bridge, and to show how like the damage that can come out of this kind of symbolic measures of not recognizing local identity. Like, so because he said, I looked forward to visiting that bridge and seeing that bridge. And so if you go to Mon State and you go to Bilujun Island and cross that bridge, you will notice that actually there's a kind of like metallic structure over the bridge, not a roof, but it's a kind of like structure. But it's just only about half of the bridge that has that kind of like supporting metallic structure. And it's on the side of Mawlamyine, So on the signs that have been put out on each side of the bridge are actually put up on each side of this structure. Since this structure is just halfway through the bridge, on the Mawlamyine side, it's like when you cross the other half of the bridge, which goes to Bilujun, there is no roof or top structure. And there is actually, when you arrive in Bilujun, there is no actual name there. So some of my friends there said, like, actually the NLD government didn't want, because we did protest, they didn't want to finish the bridge. They just finished half the bridge. And they didn't dare to put up the Aung San name on the side of the island, So there's this kind of like interpretation of, actually, when I ask somebody who's an engineer, there is this structure just on one half of the bridge because it's where the water is deeper. So it's kind of a support, but how people interpret it is like purposely the NLD is not doing that as a kind of like gesture to show that they're not happy with our protests or something. So, I mean, like, I was quite surprised that people would make such, an interpretation of this simple fact of the bridge not being the same on each side, on both sides. But one interesting thing, and I'll just finish with that, is actually in Mon State, people don't call this bridge Aung San Bridge. They just call it Bilujun Bridge. Not even the original name. The original name was Thanlwin Chaungzon Bridge. So the name of the river and the name of the township. But actually they just call it Bilujun because Chaungzon Township is located on this island called Bilujun, so to just call it that way. So at the end of the day, there's just an official name, but people call it, the way they think is right for them.
Yeah, it seems like an unfortunate lost opportunity, doesn't it, that they chose this name?
Yes.
I mean, that the government chose this name.
Yes.
Okay, Cecile, thank you so much for coming on Myanmar Musings. It's been a very interesting conversation, and I wish you the best of luck with the rest of your writing and data analysis.
Thank you very much, Luke.